That was T1 versus Hanwha Life, game number 1. Both teams are looking for their first victory of the split. T1 had a stomp in this game, especially up against the new roster from Hanwha Life Esports. Twisted Fate was B1 card for T1, which means that Twisted Fate is now on the top on the tier list. And also, Nidalee had a huge jungle priority, so Twisted Fate has so much space to roam around. So, Mordekaiser dying so much was one of the biggest reasons Hanwha Life dropped this game. So, this time around, Hanwha Life kind of showed what happens when a team fails to decide or focus on one play. So if you are having a bad game, you actually have to focus on one strategy. So for example, if Syndra had a cleanse as a summoner spell, she actually should have pushed harder and trying to absorb one gank trial using his spell and kind of putting more pressure and keeping Twisted Fate from roaming around. But today, none of the players were pulling up the performance that each champions were kind of needed to do. So I guess Syndra should have pulled up a cleaner decision overall, but at the same time, Hanwha Life having such a hard game on the top side was a huge issue as well. So there were two dragon fights that showcased that in the indecisiveness of the team with the team fight comp. Mordekaiser should have to be in a very front line, maybe trying to even death round Nidalee to secure the dragon for Hanwha Life, because that was the main point that Hanwha was trying to snowball around. Hanwha Life managed to pop the flash out of Nidalee, so they should have focused even more on the dragon fight and contested harder, maybe even at all costs. But Dudu's positioning was so off, and Cat had extra pressure on his shoulder to smite fight with a well-fed jungler. And they had a very similar fight again around this dragon fight. Trundle was the only one actually trying the dragon, so rest of the players were not in the right position. So Mordekaiser was not able to make any plays with his ability. In short, this game indicates that the pressure of LCK games. So maybe the rookie players are kind of being suppressed by this kind of pressure around them having their debut game. I guess Hanwha Life should have been geared up with higher confidence in order to secure a win. Let's check out who will be the POD of T1 for game number 1. Faker on Twisted Fate. Faker did a lot of damage to turrets. 2/3 of the entire team's damage on the buildings of Hanwha Life Esports, and a very experienced player, Faker himself, was so good at reading that Dudu was having maybe a little bit of jitter on stage to have his rookie days. So he was so good at just picking on him throughout the game. T1 as a stronger teams, well, we were expecting them to kind of outperform Hanwha Life Esports, but maybe this time could be Hanwha Life Esports underperforming due to a lot of pressure and anxiety. So Faker almost a clean score over here, getting that POG, except for the media votes. Let's move on to game number 2 for T1 versus Hanwha Life Esports, whether Hanwha Life will sub in experienced players or whether they'll keep with this new roster. So I'm gonna pass it back to our casters. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ji-sun, as usual, for the translation of the analyst desk. And it was, you know, pretty close to unanimously in favor of Faker, despite, you know, Canna being casually underneath Nexus turrets, killing Mordekaisers. Largely the reason for that is because Faker set it all up from the early game. He's now meditating so that he can do it all again.
Oh, he woke up. Okay.
All right.
Quick naps.
Oh no, he woke up. What's going to happen in game 2? Oh, it's a disaster.
Yeah. Midu here, I mean, he didn't have a bad game, but I feel like it wasn't really played around the mid lane at all. Like, Cinder wasn't really able to have much of an effect in that one, so he wasn't really tested to a high level compared to some of his rookie teammates up towards the top side that had a bit more trouble. So we'll see if they can fix that here coming into game 2, and how the pick ban is going to change up here. I feel like we might see more priority on TF.
Yeah, less priority on Aphelios maybe as well. We'll see how it's going to go. Maybe Hanwha just choose to ban it away and not deal with it at all. As no subs is quite interesting. After Hanwha do have, of course, Cuvee, Haru, and Lava sitting in the backside.
Tells you a lot about the current state of the team.
Yeah, for sure. Maybe not good things. As Varus and Yuumi to be banned by T1, and the LeBlanc and Twisted Fate this time to be taken away from Faker. And the Callista is a very good idea as well. So Hanwha will have to, well, T1 will have to change up their style. Still plenty of split push options if they do want to go down that route yet again, though. I just loved watching good split push. Good split push is actually really, really hard to do as a team, and T1 basically just demonstrated exactly how you're supposed to do it.
Yeah, it helps when you get miles ahead in the early game as well. They didn't really have much of a pressure back, push back from the side of Hanwha Life.
True.
Let's see what they prioritize here. We had Trundle, Karma, Aphelios available.
Yep, Trundle going to be that first pick. Was banned in game number 1, I believe. Actually, no. No. It was picked by Hanwha Life. But they're going to pick it again. Could just pick a Nidalee into it one more time. Kaz actually had a very good game on that. But the Nidalee Twisted Fate synergy is actually just very strong. Being able to land the gold card and guarantee a spear. But Karma was left up, guys. And that's going to be picked here. See where it's going to go. This isn't necessarily as cut and dry as watching a Team Dynamics game where it's almost obviously going to be Kuzan that plays it. Faker a little bit more flashy as Kaz is on the Lee Sin. All right, guys. This is a change-up.
Yeah, Lee Sin was not on my top 5 possible picks that I was expecting there. But Kuz is going to select it and say, let me handle it, guys. They give up Aphelios Nautilus, which I don't think is a good idea. They could still, if they didn't want to pick Aphelios, they can still pick Ezreal here. It is Teddy after all. If they want to prove to us that the Ezreal can in fact win in that matchup, now would be the time to pick it.
It'd be a gauntlet thrown, 100%. And it is going to happen. All right. Some confidence here out of T1. If they lose this game, then I'm going to start throwing things around the room when Ezreal's picked into Aphelios on purpose.
Yeah, it would take a lot, I think, for T1 to lose up against Hanwha Life after what we saw in game number 1, but let's see if perhaps Aphelios is that strong, with Lulu also going to be banned away here. They want to take away stuff that can help the Aphelios carry.
Don't mind it. Especially when the Nautilus can be flexed, and Lehens does like his enchanters quite a lot. Almost trying to funnel that Nautilus to Lehens. Hanwha Life, where are they going to focus though, as the Braum is going to be taken away? I think there's a very high chance that the Karma is in the bottom lane. Ezreal Karma is a strong lane, as well as Faker being able to then flex his muscles on something else. Also means that T1 have hidden both of their solo laners. But certainly has a very flexible nature, does. The Karma?
Yeah, I wouldn't mind seeing Curry on something like that. He did play the Blitzcrank pretty well in the last game. Again, there weren't many game-changing hooks just because the game was already kind of won from that position, but certainly looked comfortable on the pick. As Syndra gets taken away from Mutus, so we get to see something new from the rookie mid laner of Hanwha Life.
Yep. Final ban here coming in will be the Zoe away from Faker. Identifying that Zoe Ezreal still on the board. Jesse and James. All right. Now, Teddy, what is he going to lock in? As it looks like Faker will be put on the Karma, as this is not what you want. That was...
Brad, come on.
I like the idea of Brad, and Curry is a Brad aficionado. Oh, God!
Oh!
Whoa, that took a turn for the Thomas very quickly.
Oh, no!
Goodness gracious me. All right. Well, I wasn't ready for that. That caught me by surprise. Wukong going to be locked in here from Hanwha Life, and the Azir is there. Picking Azir into Faker is definitely a confidence move. And now Faker, we'll see what he gathers for Canna, as it looks like the Karma should be being played towards the top side. Sorry, towards the mid lane. Malphite. Oh, Jax?
Jax.
That sounds fun.
I almost feel like T1 is kind of flexing a little bit.
I think so.
With Curry saying, okay, I'll just full-on protect you. It's like,
that is Jax locked in.
Yeah, Jax is going to be locked in. This is something that, I mean, we're going to have to see if Canna can actually pilot it to a high degree here in pro play. It is going to be up against the Wukong. So with Wukong, very popular nowadays in even the LCK, but also in solo queue. Jax could be one of these common counters that we do see into this pick. So definitely a very, just, you know, they're throwing Faker onto Karma as well. This is not as solid of a draft as game number 1, just straight up. They had a very identifiable split push composition. This time around, it's like, well, we're pretty good at picking and kiting, and they do have Jax for decent split pushing as well.
I mean, you can split push with Tamken Jezreel, theoretically, because then you can Abyssal Voyage, much like you can Destiny Gate. It just requires having a couple of people. But this is going to be a Hanwha Life roster, a little bit of a change-up from game number 1 with the Wukong top side and the Azir in the mid lane now. Plus 200 Years Under the Sea as the bottom lane duo of Aphelios and Nautilus. And the Canadian dollar just trolling around, as he did in game number 1. And this is going to be your T1 roster, the classic Ezreal Karma that we saw not work consistently. Over on the side of Team Dynamics earlier in the day, T1 now looking to give them a few lessons, a few pointers on how to get that one done. But as far as 4-1 is concerned, not a bad comp at all. The Jax freely able to split push and should be able to duel up against the Wukong based on how the early game goes. As we get onto the Rift, we'll see whether the Jax is going to prove to be the correct pick into the Wukong, or whether Hanwha Life can fight back and bring us to the full 6 games on the day.
Yeah, let's take a look here. It doesn't look like any shenanigans here in the early game, although Faker. Nice start, gets a stack of his mana flow ban. That's always a nice
the dream
feel.
Yep. Did 100 damage to Miro as well. Not bad. All right, bit of a back here. Maybe a bit of a switch out. And it is going to be Sweeper, picked up from the Canadian dollar. So it looks like he's going to be starting on his red side jungle.
A lot less Scorches nowadays.
It's good, isn't it?
Yeah, we don't really see many, at least today. Or, yeah, in both series today. We do have, looks like Futures Market there on the Nautilus. Not super common, but definitely a good rune.
Yep, I feel like that's a Lehens thing. I feel like Lehens is the type of player that can make use of that. As Glorious Thomas looking quite magnificent with that particular skin. His Faker moves on up. Traditional Karma, I believe. Is that the traditional Karma skin? Because that's actually a skin.
Is it?
I'm trying to remember. I think it's
I don't know, it kind of looked normal to me.
Yeah, I think
I'm
it's
not
just
sure.
stock. Never mind. Viper playing around. As, okay, Teddy gets one of the farm. And this is actually, I'm really, really interested in this particular matchup. Because I think Viper is a fantastic Aphelios player, but I think Teddy is one of the best Ezreals in the world. And we need to know why Ezreal is being picked on purpose into Aphelios, when from what we've seen, he loses all of the matchups. As Canna is just getting whacked on by Dudu.
Yeah. Just taking it there. And we could have seen that early.
Okay.
Yeah.
Viper's going to find Cuz, who does safeguard his way out. Means that Lands gets taken down to 200 health, and Viper misses out on a bit of experience.
We saw that Dokdam from Team Dynamics, he had moments where the Ezreal looked pretty good in the mid game. Obviously the mid game, Ezreal's favorite place in this game. But then other times where, even in the late game, he was trying and he got close, but never quite able to out-carry the Aphelios. So I think you're absolutely right. We have to see what Teddy can do on a pick like this, as it should look very different.
Here's Cad. Gonna try and get on forward. It's not the greatest of pillars. It means that the Airy is all he's going to get for his trouble. It's Teddy Arcane shifting pretty aggressively there. And Dudu might just be solo killed, as the Empower should be coming back up. Flash still available here from Canna, but Leap Strike is there, and that's first blood. Solo kill, and he gets a flash and doesn't have to use his own. That is a catastrophe. Unless you're a T1 fan, in which case it is just style points.
Yeah.
Once again.
We're going to have to see exactly how Dudu got himself into that position. Definitely very unfortunate for him that, especially as you mentioned, Kana just leap strikes. He's like, okay, you're dead, buddy. It was probably a trade gone wrong. Dudu was looking good when it was level 2 to level 1, but it's a very different story when Jax gets, you know, a bunch of attacks down, and then
I think it was a
Faker.
teleport back to lane situation that Dudu didn't quite respect enough.
I think they
From
both
what we can see.
TP'd back to lane now.
Oh, did they both actually go back and come back again?
I think so.
Okay, well, then there's no excuse.
I'm sure we're going to get a look at the replay, though, just to make sure. He's
Another
going in
leap
again.
strike. Yeah, exactly. Counter-Strike will go down as Dudu decoys his way into the brush. Cuz is going to be here. It's a decent pillar this time. Sleep Strike does get Canna out to safety, but back in they go. Cad down to 300 as Cuz not so lucky. He's going to have to limp his way out of here, but it looks like it has stemmed the bleeding. And Dudu does have a severe health advantage.
I want to see that replay.
Yeah, they'll probably show it.
I'm like, guys, can we see it? Maybe they want to see more trading here. As Wukong definitely has some decent trade potential early on in the game, but you always have to respect the Jax. So we're going to see. It was actually started here by Jax, as you saw the little stealth, I don't know what you would call that, flare or ghost or something. He said, I got him.
Yeah, and he got his flash.
Yeah.
And he pinged it to his team. As yet again, Leap Strike just being used off cooldown as another decoy comes forward. Cad going to come on in this time, though, and it's going to mean that Canna is not going to be so lucky. Okay, that's pretty impressive as Dudu just turns around and smashes him in the face with his stick. That's what happens when you have a real weapon, I guess.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he didn't have to flash there. I think he was almost 100% of the time dead, but kind of, especially after game 1, I'm sure he is just, he destroys game 1, gets a solo kill game 2, and he is just feeling it, the overconfidence oozing out of him, and that's, I think, why he flashed there. So, got to be careful about that.
Don't mind it. Also, with Leap Strike, you can do some fancy stuff, assuming you have a ward. I don't know whether that control ward was actually in his back pocket in time, but Cuz is desperately trying to crash this wave into the turret. But the Wukong should be able to get here to get all but the cannon minion, basically. So not quite able to shove it fast enough, and now Canna finds himself with absolutely nothing to do. I'm not sure whether he's going to actually place that control ward. Taking a bit of a wander down the river at the moment, as Faker is going to put Cad on a leash. And he's going to take a little bit of a pillar for his trouble. Otherwise, no worries.
Jungler's getting angry, stealing all the lane XP and gold.
Yep.
Getting in there, helping push, trying to get better lane states for their laners. But kind of looks like, you know, if this were solo kill, that wouldn't be the reason why that's happening. But let's see how this top lane is going to go from here on out. The first kill was taken by Kana, but he's fallen behind a little bit in CS. So that will put the Dudu ahead.
Yep, having a look at this one once again. Canna just, fighting off a little more than he can chew.
Gets smited, stuns them both, and I suppose he didn't have to reset there, probably used it on the jump. And he had a ward, but it didn't spot the bottom of that long brush. So he didn't quite see the Trundle coming, was able to sneak on in, and kind of got caught by surprise there.
Well, so far, Cuz has soaked a few waves of minions top lane. And the Lee Sin effect is something that we've wanted to see improved here in the LCK. So far, not quite there. As Lehens, he's left his lane, and he's over here looking for Cuz. Cad gonna move on in to go for some sort of smite fight, but Curry, he got the memo. He's going to turn up as well, as Cuz is going to at least search to see where Cad might be. Faker looking to clear this control ward. Nope, not going to try and contest. Miru and Lehens just going to move up towards this first Rift Herald. HLE going to be taken down. Counter gets back to lane. He's 20 CS down though. Probably something you'd expect for a Jax. Certainly has a bit of ramp up time. Lehens gets licked. And Cuz is looking for him. Finds himself the Q. Flash comes out. Cuz not going to flash over into 4 people. Intelligent. True Shot Barrage is going to find Viper. And Teddy is currently down 3 CS. Otherwise, everything's absolutely fine.
Yeah, just the AD carries left alone here with the Rift Herald play. It did have a bunch of help me pings around the Rift Herald from the side of T1, so it did look like they wanted to get on in there and challenge it, which they did. Kana also left the top lane pushing into him, which denied a decent amount of XP and gold away from Dudu during that whole exchange. And actually, he's just going to get to work on that once again, because doesn't seem to mind it, as he'll get his own Infernal Drake down on the bottom side, as Curry is still in the mid lane. Now he's Faker support.
Yeah, I guess so. Doesn't seem to matter though, does it? Because Teddy's taking turret plates by himself, denying whatever he can, as in goes Lehens. Teddy gets himself his turret plate. Concussive blows do come down. Dredge line waited for here by Teddy. As Cuz going to safeguard his way in. That's a good kickback just to deny Viper the kill. And in the end actually worked, because Teddy didn't have to invest anything, and all they had to use was Dragon Rage, and Cuz will have that one up relatively quickly.
Yeah. Thought it might have been a case of him greeting for the turret plate, but it ended up it was all calculated with Lee Sin coming down. Cuz hasn't been too visible during this game with the Lee Sin, but at least he did pick up that Infernal Drake. Still waiting to see what all this priority on the Lee Sin is all about.
Well, it works in China, Valdez, and
yeah, well,
I'm not sure. Shelly's going to pop down here and see whether she can pump some more money into the Aphelios. Curry going to clear out these minion waves, but looks like the tower's going to survive for the moment, but only on its last legs. Hanwha Life should be able to finish this one off relatively quickly. Lehens is having fun with his Hex Flash.
It's always a fun time to scare your opponents with. And we've kind of slowed down after that early game top shenanigans. And looks like they're going to hand over the blue actually to the Ezreal. The Karma, again, doesn't necessarily need much to just survive and farm. And
especially when you have Athenes, right? It's
yeah.
a fair bit of region in unto itself. And going to be building quite a few mana items, actually, if she's going to go the Kuzan build, without opting in for the Rabadons as third item. Kind of going to get the stun here. Eternity Force is what he's really looking for. And then he's going to be happily dueling. Although, once again, charging up those Conqueror stacks. But yeah, I think it's time to talk about Nintendo, really. Let's be honest.
yeah,
Not a lot going on.
Oh,
It's okay, never mind. Dudu just going to run away. Kick back, resonating strike, not going to be opted in for here, as Cuz is he's a kickboxer based on that skin, but he's not doing a lot of boxing. He's just doing a lot of kicking at this point.
yeah, he's a kick bot at this point in the game. And I mean, that is, I suppose, one of the positive things about Lee Sin's kit is that you can disengage effectively against someone
He's
who's
also
running at
level
you.
7, remember, as the Dredge line lands onto the Tahm Kench, though, True Shot Barrage, finds Cad, good exhaust down as well as Lehens, just gets smacked by Cuz easily, takes him down as now Viper's getting soloed out by Teddy. Arcane shifting and flashing forward, but actually missing that last Mystic shot is now Miro. He's dead. And Cuz may have heard us on this broadcast as he might just look for a Q into this brush. Not going to be able to find it as the Tempest isn't enough. But still, a gigantic win for T1, despite the fact that Viper did not go down. And Teddy demonstrating just how dangerous this Ezreal is. He must have so much money in his back pocket, by the way. He's been sitting on those items forever.
Yeah, he might just go back and buy both of them.
Potentially.
He bought Man Immune and boots.
And another Sapphire Crystal.
So there will be, you know, games like this where the action is just all over the place, where the Lee Sin pick looks really good. And he effectively baited Lehens into a really awkward spot. The TP got Lehens into an even worse spot, and then Curry just barely survives with Faker's shield and his own. And that's what allows Cuz to get back. As we see, the fight between the 80 carries was actually too much for a Viper to handle, and that's why he had to just back away.
Oh, it was a good sidestep, actually.
Yeah, great job. Maybe that's the reason why we see so much Ezreal into Aphelios, because in a straight-up fight,
Teddy's Ezreal is a different champion to a lot of other Ezreals.
he will do well.
I think there are a few Ezreals that we trust. I think Def's Ezreal used to be fantastic. It's not as amazing as it used to be, but let's hold the thought for now. As Tahm Kench, I think we've got, you want some sushi? Some catfish sushi there towards the bottom side of the map, and Viper is handed that on a silver platter. The service at this restaurant is absolutely amazing. But in the meantime, the Jax is doing work. The teleport is going to be an advantage of T1 when it comes back up as far as top lane is concerned. And it's just the one kill in trade for a turret. Was close to getting a bunch of plates as well. Missed out on the last couple, I believe, but also did get a fair bit of extra money and was able to close that gap as far as the CS. So I think still a trade up for T1.
Yeah. It's like a nice set play. You know, I think Hanwha Life with some new members, they're still trying to get their feet underneath them and keep everything stable. So going for set plays like that is nice. You know, the timing is good.
Oh, wow, that Q was so close to hitting that from Cuz.
Okay.
He just gets the kick. Remember,
that's a long foot, man.
He's just the kicker. He's not a kickbot, he's a kicker.
Yeah.
And he really, that's what happens. If you only practice your kicking, you're going to really extend your range. As he does finally put those fists to use. As Lehens is going to have to get out of there. Does so without using the flash, though. Good judge line.
Yeah. I want to see the replay of the slow motion of Lee Sin's foot extending. You know, I didn't watch...
Is it like Space Jam?
I didn't watch much One Piece. We were mentioning this before with Curry, but I know there's that stretchy guy.
He is pretty
I don't know
stretchy.
his name, but I know he can stretch, and that's maybe...
Fantastic Four is another example of that.
Yeah, what about the... Isn't it the woman from The Incredibles, right?
Yeah. Elastigirl.
Yeah. There you go.
Yep.
You got all our references in.
You're absolutely fantastic. All of that
wow.
culture that you just
I know
understood.
The pop cultures.
You did it.
Great.
A boomer no more.
I've joined the cool club because I watched the Marvel movie. Yes!
But it's like... I don't know. I think a lot of people don't understand that you don't get a lot of the references, not because you're a boomer and you know only old stuff. It's because you don't know anything other than playing like 2 different video games your entire life.
I know a lot about League of Legends.
Yeah, it's like League of Legends and World of Warcraft. You know all
StarCraft. Know a lot about that. Yep. And
Outside
Age of Empires. That's another one I played a lot.
Did you play much Civilization? I like that one. It's fun. Gonna check out Cuz missing a Q here. Oh, we get to see the foot.
나 살짝 얘 볼게. 잠시 봐줘.
I actually did just
I'm gonna try for this.
까비. 잘 맞아. 오케이.
What?
That's a long foot.
It's even like a pillar in the way.
Well, that's what happens if you train that foot a lot.
Okay.
You get through anything. Brick walls, things like that.
We have another windowed mode player. We already knew that about Cuz.
Yep, good devour.
You know, the Tahm Kench is interesting against the Varus Ashe combo.
Good kickback there. It's under Lehens, though. It's Cad. Going to try and do some work. Good Cyclone as Cuz is going to go down first. The Eladios is going to be reaping the rewards. And now more sushi. Viper must have been very, very hungry as there's the stopwatch from Lehens. He's styling on them here in the mid lane. Hanwha Life, they answer back. Not quite enough to get themselves the gold lead, but otherwise things looking good as Canna lying in wait. and decides to do mostly the wait. I want the Krugs.
Yeah, Krugs, definitely a lot of gold. But yeah, I think T1 just got a little bit too far down the lane there, as Dudu is going to try to trade back here. He's not exactly in a great spot here with not a completed item against Trinity Force. Generally, not a good trade there. As you can see, it starts off by the Lee Syndrome. He goes in, and then he kind of baits his team into a bad spot down the lane, and Dudu actually with a great follow-up engage.
Yeah, I was actually sick from Dudu. Really, really nicely done.
Definitely a great play from that rookie top laner. Gotta hand it to him. He is angry after game number 1. Doesn't want to be bullied anymore.
Understandable too. That was a difficult one for him. As Kanna, I believe, is building towards his Ninja Tabi and, of course, the Death's Dance, which is just so good. Second item, as Curry gonna have to flash pillar a little bit late there from Cat.
Yeah, at least Lahen's lost his flash, so he looks a little bit less silly after the play.
And now Teddy parked in the mid lane. Got an interesting build coming out from Faker here, actually opting in for the second item Ludens instead of third. Ardent Sense are going to be a little bit late or non-existent, depending on what he wants the build to look like. It's not as valuable, I guess, on a Ezreal, but it's super valuable on Jax. I think you'd actually really want to purchase it as soon as possible, but Faker obviously has his reasons, looking for a little bit of extra upfront damage first. As Kuz is a big boy. He's really far ahead in farm. He's 3-1-0, has a fully completed Black Cleaver.
Yeah. You got a Fed Lee Sin on your team, but you would rather have the Fed Aphelios, I suppose.
Oh, yeah.
And he is 3-0-1 Viper. He didn't get a chance to carry in game number 1 because the top side of the map fed a little bit too much. Maybe this is his time to shine, given the Aphelios versus Ezreal matchup, and essentially handed over the champion once again and saying, I dare you to do that and actually win against us. They're going to be able to secure this Mountain Drake at least.
And once again, the split push is on, actually. Faker's up towards the top side. Inspire actually does give Karma a lot of ability to split push because you just run faster than most other people. But Hanwha Life able to capitalize nicely. They take themselves the first Mountain Drake of the game. And they also take down the mid outer turret. So that is going to keep them within touching distance. As Faker is 2 levels ahead of Miru, who is the second highest level in the game. Faker is just, I don't know, he's still playing Twisted Fate, although he's playing Karma instead. Does that make sense? Sitting in side lane, soaking all of this farm and experience.
He hasn't gone Ardent Sensor in this game. He's like, well, I don't really want that in this one. With the Ezreal.
I still think he should get it, though. Jackson,
it doesn't
Ardent Sensor
feel
is
bad.
super good.
Ardent Sensor, LS was talking about this on his own stream about how it's just a huge bundle of stats, not to mention all of the buffing that you do.
Yep. Devour comes in, depth charge is going to mainly hit onto Curry. Cuz is going to be in position, but it looks like the Catfish is well and truly dead. Yeah, he is. And T1 not actually opting in because they've got Kanna on the bottom side. Now Hanwha Life are thinking about a Baron. Abyssal Voyage is there, so in 20 seconds, Curry can be pretty close.
I mean, Kanna's got TP. You already have Cad, who's below half health, with an Ezreal that's going to poke. Lee Sin.
Yeah, Cuz can just go for a 50-50 here. They may as well do it, as Hanwha Life probably will look for a turn. As Teddy finds Lahen's, Kanna gets in there, as it is going to be Baron taken by Hanwha Life, but they need someone to actually have the buff. As now Dudu, no mana whatsoever. There are no turrets in the top lane, so T1 can chase forever. As Cat is actually going to look to meet his teammate. That might actually cause his demise.
Yeah, he's dead.
Oh dear, Cuz easily going to be able to get this one. I have no idea why he flashed.
Okay.
That was very strange, but Cat's now actually going to escape. Teddy was doing the right thing and taking down turrets. But despite the Baron going down, they get 3 kills and they continue their onslaught onto these standing objectives on the map in these turrets. This is the last remaining inner that they can even go for. And Teddy should be able to take that one down. Oh my god, the combo! But the ulti comes in. Devour is brilliant. Curry Really good to see this guy playing so well in his debut match. True Shot Barrage comes down. That's going to be the end of the Trundle. This is, ladies and gentlemen, why you picked the Ezreal. As Teddy's still alive, Lahens almost the start with that Mystic Shot as Viper looking for it to show the Elodios. As there's the Arcane Shift, flash away there as the Gravitum. Pretty difficult to deal with that one, because what the heck was that? As now Dudu dives on top of the Dragon Rage kick is going to be there. Canna not going to be able to get enough CC out of that counter strike as Grandmaster's Might, I believe, was ticking, and it still is, but the turret is going to mitigate that one. And in the end, I think Dudu might get the last laugh as the double Cyclones will get the Catfish and maybe this Muay Thai boxer as he's trying to run away. There it is. Nimbus Strike after the decoy comes out.
I just hear the Korean caster screaming Dududunga behind me as he goes in. As Dududungjang is actually, you know, to like get in there, you know, real fast, real fun. As I wanna put you guys to Teddy, who is, again, we talked about this, maybe he's gonna be the one guy to prove to us why Ezreal gets picked into Aphelios. I feel like even though it was a broken fight, that's the perfect time for Ezreal to really pop off as he pops off. There he pops off. Here, Curry, great positioning to be close enough to make sure that he devours him up. Even though Curry has died a lot, he's sacrificed a lot for his team, and he's actually been in the right place at the right time.
Yeah, I actually think he's been brilliant.
Yeah, he's had a great
I don't know
game.
what that tongue lash was. That's okay.
And then we get to see a little bit of why Teddy and Cuz are sometimes considered the best at their roles. The mechanics begin to pop off as Cuz comes in. He has the wherewithal to say, hey, if I get in there for that last bit of damage, I can secure this and help Teddy survive. Until, of course, Dududunga comes in.
Yeah. Not entirely sure why Canada decided it would be a really good idea just to go face first underneath the turret with the Wukong still alive, but it did mean that Dudu was able to fully clean up. And after the dust settles, we'll have to see exactly what that means as T1 are setting up for yet another fight, so we're not going to be able to see what it means as far as the items. It looks like we're straight back into another battle, but that's what we want. This is the LCK. It's not known for super fast, super fun action. And at 24 minutes, we have 22 kills. So this is definitely shaping up better than especially some of our games in our first.
Yeah. T1 drafts fun comps against teams that they know they're better against, and they play them and they actually have fun with them.
Oh, that's a dredge line. Good arcane shift, and Curry's going to get the Devour as well. Cad should be going down, but in goes Dudu into the back line. Grandmaster's Might not enough to do anything there as Miru gets the ulti onto only Faker, but it doesn't seem to matter because Aphelios is still alive, and Cuz is randomly at a quarter health on the bottom side of the screen. That is going to be Dragon Soul Point as T1 gets slaughtered in that team fight.
Yeah, we begin to see bit by bit why Wukong especially is a very high tier pick nowadays. The amount of CC he offers in a team fight on top of just straight up damage, and his ability to survive through invisibility, through death stance, is uncanny. Over the wall here goes Lahens, a great engage. At first you're thinking, okay, T1 got this, but then Kana, yet again, he goes in, and look at the difference between the top laners in this team fight. I'm not saying the skill, just the champions and their effect on it. The knockups in the background do so much for Hanwha Life, whereas Kana goes in and he doesn't have his counterattack up, and so he kind of just dies eventually, even though he's got a lot of resistances and doesn't end up doing much as he gets CC'd to death. And from there, I mean, Lee Sin got burst down a little bit early on in that one, even though he had a good kick. Just to survive, he wasn't able to do much, which is part of the reason why we don't enjoy too many Lee Sins here in a very team fight-centric region. And there you go, Hanwha Life able to secure a win in the team fight as well as another dragon. They're on Mountain Soul Point, and they actually have a chance to win this one against T1.
And they have 100 gold lead, Valdez. For the first time in this series, they do get themselves ahead in gold. As now Miru moves back towards the bottom side, looking to try and fight this one out against Canna. Another Cyclone, I believe, still available. There it is. Grandmaster's Might is down, and Canna's just going to leap strike his way out of this one. Both top laners getting melted down by their own death dances. There we go. Counter-Strike is going to mean that Dudu's not going to be able to close the gap as Miru decides that it's his turn. Conquering Sands is going to be available. There it goes. Flash eventually gathered, and Leap Strike will get Canada safety. So he survives, but not without having to invest a fair bit into that one. Dudu only his ultimate. Miru, not much at all, just a shifting Sands cooldown. Now T1 able to move towards the Baron. But if Canada can keep making pressure like that and causing two people to come down to his lane, still doing his job.
Yeah. Especially when, you know, objectives are up. I feel like it was a bit of a shame for T1 that the Baron was about 20 seconds away from respawning when that whole shenanigan did happen in the bottom side. But perhaps that's the reason why Hanwha Life went for it, and it was just a calculated play. They were able to get that flash out of the Jax, which is a very important summoner for anyone, but especially for Jax, who loves to reposition. So he's just going to return to the split push. Let's see how hard Hanwha Life want to try to force this Baron. They could just try to sit back and wait for Mountain Drake to spawn in 2 minutes, and then if they secure that, go for Baron afterwards after Mountain Soul. But I'm not sure exactly how confident they're feeling about winning that dragon fight.
Well, I mean, the last fight certainly went very well for them, and I think front to back they do have a composition that at this point in the game is looking much better. T1, they do have the Lee Sin problem. They have Karma, who doesn't necessarily scale fantastically. She has got a more scaling build than she would otherwise have, even with Sorcerer's Shoes. It's a little bit greedy. But has completed the very fancy hat. But Cuz is going to fall off. Even Tamkench not going to offer as much. But will be able to reposition Teddy. This is a Teddy hard carry type game with hopefully Canna in a side lane getting some stuff done. As True Shot Barrage will stop some backs and give some information over to T1, allowing them to go for their own reset. Blade of the Ruin King likely to be finished here by Teddy, and he does just complete it. Next item here for Faker, I'm hoping, is going to be the Ardent Sensor, and there it is. Going to be started at least, not quite completed just yet. And as a fourth item, Ardent Sensor with a Jax and an Ezreal, it's a little bit sad.
Yeah, wanted to prioritize just straight up big numbers rather than a little bit more of a supporty type build with the Ardent Sensor earlier on.
Okay,
I don't know about this
gonna
cat.
get killed.
I don't know about that one, buddy. Teddy, you mentioned this is going to be the solo carry from him if they win, and split push, you know, sidekick Canna.
Oh, 100%.
That's going to be the story at the end of this one if T1 win. And you can't, you're Trundle, okay? It's late game against Ezreal with 4 items. You're not running at him anymore. It's not happening. I don't care if you subjugate him or whatever. It's not going to work.
I'm not sure what a Hanwha Life are actually looking for here. It was like they were trying to trade the Mountain Drake. Remember, they have a lot more flexibility in this moment. T1 have to stop them from getting it. Whereas Hanwha Life, they can feel free to take this turret first and even give up the Drake, because one Mountain as T1's second Dragon is really not a big deal. As yeah, Hanwha Life are just going to move straight towards the base. And the Dragon does go down, but now they're going to lose an inhibitor turret for it. As Lehens moves on over, flashes forward just to stop the backs. The kickback does come in. Are they just going to win the game? Teddy gets back to base. Canna's there as well. As now Dudu underneath his turret gets the Cyclone knock up onto Teddy. Dudu taking a lot of damage, but the second Nexus turret, it's going down so incredibly quickly, and Viper should just be able to eat through it. Oh my god, we're going to 6 games. Hanwha Life steal it away from T1.
And just like that, Hanwha Life sweep the rug out from under T1 and say, this is our game to win. We don't want to have any Teddy story, Teddy carry, anything like that. Welcome to the Dudu carry coming in on his Wukong and just showing you what's up. Oh man, baiting them with the Mountain Soul, trying to get everybody in there. The classic backdoor / front door play there. Hanwha Life just running it down mid and picking up the win. Very nicely played by them. I feel like their map plays this time around were much cleaner. And we are going to that fabled Game 6 / Game 3 on the night. And a well-deserved win goes to them. I have to say, T1's draft's not the best. They almost were able to make it work with some fancy plays and the Teddy carry, but wasn't quite enough with a couple of botched team fights there in the mid-game that, honestly, due to... Oh, yeah, I got to vote.
Yeah, you do.
Everybody knows who I'm voting for. Best
Valios.
name on the team.
There we
No,
go.
I'm not voting for Viper.
Yep,
because
Viper's
he attacked
definitely
and got some
deserved it.
kills.
Incredible.
No.
Took down the Nexus. No, I think Dudu actually did play very, very well. He got solo killed that game. And then came back and team fought immaculately. Absolutely fantastic stuff. Wukong is relatively imba, but
Yes.
certainly we got a look in at the reason why. And Wukong has lost his fair share of games. I mean, you look over the regions, Wukong is not necessarily crushing it when he does get picked up, but in that game, Dudu definitely made him look fantastic. So, I believe, was Wukong? Yes, he was banned second round in the first series, in the first game, and then wasn't touched, unfortunately, in the second one. So T1 might be looking towards that to make sure that they can have a better time in game 2. Sorry,
Yeah.
3.
Wukong going to go to 50% win rate after that one. And again, we just see the power of it. You know, it's not really this huge damage or presence in the lane. It's about his team fighting knock-up, double knock-up abilities. As most damage goes to Teddy by far. Actually, Faker had nearly the same amount of damage as the Aphelios, but I think T1 can draft much better than that. I mean, they tried to go old school with, you know, Teddy carry. You give him Karma, you give him Tom Kench, and you say, the Rift is your oyster. Do whatever you want, carry us to the win.
That's not what they were doing, though,
We'll
because
follow you.
Faker didn't even build the Ardent Sensor. Yes, his shields are going to be giving a bunch of health back
Faker.
because he does have the at least first item Grail, but I don't know, man. It was weird to not see that item come in until the very end, and then it didn't actually get completed. But that was swept out from under T1. I felt like they were still in a decent position. Let's see what they can do in game number 3 after the break.
얘네 치면은 만약에 먹히면 먹혀드니까 싸움 각 봐.
갈게.
안 쳤다, 안 쳤다.
크게 돈다 나.
안 쳤어 얘네.
일단 클리어하면서 갈게 이거.
용 쳤어.
친다 친다.
야 미드로 들어와도 돼 이거 안
야
해.
이거 미드로 가도 되는데 우리.
나 미드 갈게 그러면.
미드 갈게.
기둥대. 써봐.
나 미드 갈게
쳐.
미드 갈게.
미드로 가.
들어가. 미드 와봐 미드 와봐.
야 게임 끝내 되겠는데 이거?
야, 끝내면 하는데 이거.
우리가
끝낼까?
좋아.
미드로
야 끝내볼래 이거? 내가 막아볼게 얘들아.
막아봐.
막아봐. 그거 하나 얘기해줘.
야 끊어. 야 이즈 간다. 이즈 갔다.
이제 갔어 이제
야 이제
갔어.
끊어봐, 끊어봐.
끝낼만해 이거.
야 아래터
캔 끊었어.
터,
야 카메라 끊었어.
터쳐.
여기 3 있어. 여기 3명 있어. 여기 3명 있거든.
터쳐. 아.
야나 중무야 그냥 깨버려
나이스!
오케이.
나이스!
아 나이스 잘했다
아 진짜 미안.
괜찮아